As I usually do, I've been watching some streams from fellow YouTubers lately, and in many of those streams, there's been a particular person in the chat by the name of Val who keeps asking me to feature the Gross Occur First yet again. So this video is dedicated to you, Val. I know you're out there watching. The Gross Occur First, out of all the legendary tier battleships, is, in my opinion, probably the weakest, and that mostly comes down to its size and maneuverability. It is basically the size of a small island, and so it does not turn or maneuver very well, which means that if you get caught in a situation where you're being focused, you kind of can't really get away, and this thing is just a gigantic damage pinata that everybody likes to shoot at. So if you want to have success in the Gross Occur First, you need several things to happen. First, you need to utilize island cover, and now that the Concealment module is available on all battleships, you should probably put that in the third module slot. For this particular build, I do have the Concealment module active, and I have a rank 16 Condo as one of my commander inspirations. So my detectability by sea is reduced to an incredible 13.1 kilometers. Before the buff, as I consider it, when the Concealment mod was added to all battleships, the GK had like a 15-kilometer concealment. It was absolutely awful. You would get spotted within like 2 seconds of spawning, and instantly you would be shot at. The introduction of the Concealment mod and putting Condo as an inspiration has cut that down quite a bit. Now I can push further into the map without being spotted. And this does seem like a simple concept, but it's one that I can't overstate the importance of, and that is, if you are not spotted, you are not going to be shot. Now, even if you are spotted, you want to limit the amount of people that are shooting at you. So you can see me putting my advice into practice here, sailing down one of the flanks on the map, using this island to block line of sight from the enemies and provide myself cover. And then as soon as we get around this island, we can start opening up on this Montana, who we previously hit for like 30k as he was going behind it. But what we don't want to do is push straight into this Montana, because not only is the Montana over there, but there's also an Alaska and a Des Moines. And while the GK does have nearly 100,000 hit points and very thick armor, it is, again, a gigantic target with the superstructure the size of some other cruisers or destroyers in this game. So if it's getting focused down by 3 ships, it's not going to be floating for too very long, especially if one of those ships is a high DPM cruiser like the Des Moines, or, you know, if we give broadside to the Alaska, he can probably hurt us pretty badly as well. So we're going to turn our nose in more toward this Charlie cap. The problem here is we don't quite know where the single enemy destroyer is, and another problem is developing in that 2 of our battleships have already perished, because of course they have. It's only been less than 5 minutes in this game, so why wouldn't they? We're going to shoot at this Des Moines, though, because he is by far the biggest threat to us. We can angle against the Montana, but we cannot angle against fires. The HE spam is a big weakness of the GK. So anything we can do to maybe persuade this Des Moines to not shoot at us anymore, we're going to do it. Meanwhile, our secondaries are working away at the Montana, and he's being focused down by 2 of our cruiser teammates. You can see just how much hit points he's losing because of that. This is exactly what we wanted to avoid, and why we are pushing in so close to the island as we are, to limit the amount of people that can shoot at us. Only the Montana can shoot at us. The Alaska and the Des Moines behind the island can't, and that is the idea. And as far as we can tell, given the fact that we are, well, we're still spotted, but I think we're going to drop spot here. As far as we can tell, the enemy destroyer is nowhere near us. The Charlie cap is still gray. Nobody has yet claimed it. So we are going to enter the Charlie cap, and we are not going to push around this island just yet to see the Des Moines and the Alaska. Our team does hold one of the caps, and the red team holds another one of the caps. Both teams have lost 2 battleships, so both teams are at an even number of points. We want to swing the points balance if we can by securing this cap, and that'll also net us a lot of XP and boost our score a little bit at the end. We're holding fire against this beautifully broadside Yamato who would surely take a paddling from us until we get closer to this island in the center of the cap, so that hopefully we can put ourselves behind it and prevent taking any return fire from the Yamato. Now, we hit the Yamato for a very disappointing 10k, and then the Des Moines resets us, so go figure. We're going to keep the gun silent again so we can go dark as we take a shot from the Yamato. Luckily, the dispersion was all over the place, so I think we only took one shell. But we notice the Montana broadside in front of us behind this island. He thinks he's safe, I guess. But our shells have just enough clearance to smack his citadel twice and send him to the bottom of the sea. We're at 122,000 damage done right now. And just take special note of our positioning, how we have steered our battleship. We didn't aggressively push into the Des Moines or the Alaska. We would have lost way too many hit points doing that, and taking the capture circle is more important. Now, of course, that prevents us from shooting at anything right now for the foreseeable moment, but sometimes it's okay to keep your gun silent in pursuit of an objective like a capture circle, because this capture circle is going to be more valuable than shooting and dealing damage to any of these ships that are within our gun range right at this moment. We managed to secure the cap completely solo, which is going to net us quite a bit of XP and credits at the end of the game, and we see the Des Moines looks like he is going to be pushing forward past this island, which is a good thing. It's going to mean we're going to be able to hit his broadside because he's giving us the broadside behind that island. Like the Montana, he thinks he's safe, but he's not. Another 2 citadels, and that Des Moines is well on his way back to port. My cruiser teammates should be able to finish him off, but it might be a contest between their DPM and my secondaries. Let's see here. I don't know exactly how this Des Moines is going to go down, but yeah, one of the cruisers gets the kill, which is perfectly fine. That just leaves the Alaska still hiding out behind the island, and I've only really got one cruiser teammate left. But we've done 156,000 damage as the Alaska, apparently not having just seen what happened to the Des Moines, pulls the exact same move, pulls out broadside in front of us. To his credit, he is kind of trying to angle, but it's not going to be enough to save him. The GK's dank 420 guns overmatch the Alaska in many places along the armor scheme, so we're able to hit him for a less spectacular 9k there, but again, he is well on his way back to port, and in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have kicked on the throttle to put myself behind this island. I'll admit, the Alaska's guns are kind of terrifying, so I was worried about giving him my broadside, but it doesn't look like he has any interest in shooting it. He's much more interested in shooting whatever that cruiser is over there. Judging by the rate of fire, it could be a Des Moines or a Worcester. I'm not entirely sure. I'm thinking Des Moines, but the Alaska is all tied up with that Des Moines, so we'll reverse from behind the unnecessary safety of this island, take another shot. We get a better result that time and net ourselves the high caliber. Unfortunately, our cruiser teammate looks like he might go down to this Alaska, and clearly it's not a Des Moines or Worcester, it's a Minotaur if it's launching torpedoes, and the Minotaur does get the kill on the Alaska, so that's great. There's only 2 enemy battleships left now, and a single enemy cruiser. We've done 187,000 damage, which is quite impressive in the GK. And note, we really haven't lost a lot of hit points. Even though this ship is incredibly tanky and incredibly well armored, you simply can't push it straight into the action early on in the game. That is a quick ticket back to port, and I think it's something German battleship players in general need to keep in mind. Having turtleback and having very thick armor plating does not make you invincible when you're being focused down by more than one enemy ship. Good general rule of thumb is you can brawl one-on-one versus anything that doesn't have torpedoes in the GK, as long as it's a guaranteed 1v1 fight. You throw another set of guns into the mix, and all of a sudden your hit points start melting. So it's good to control your aggression, be very deliberate about where you place your ship, and utilize island cover to block shots from a lot of the enemy ships. Also a good idea to keep your gun silent and maintain your concealment when it benefits your positioning. Note there that we did keep our guns silent until we got a more favorable angle from that Conqueror, and as a result we were able to remove many more of his hit points than we otherwise might have. But now, things are okay. The Yamato is being focused down by me and my battleship teammate here. As long as we point our nose toward him and give a little bit of an angle, we should be able to reasonably tank his 18.1-inch guns, and we can let our secondaries do a little bit of talking as we close in. We're hoping that he'll give us a little bit more of his cheek there, but it is all for naught. He goes down to one of our teammates. That just leaves the Conqueror and I think the Minotaur left with less than 5 minutes to go in this game. So basically this battle is a guaranteed win. There's pretty much no way the Conqueror and the Cruiser are going to take us down unless we screw up very, very badly indeed. But we've done a cool 212,000 damage, and I'm pretty happy with the results. And again, if you take anything else away from this video, it's that concealment and using island cover in the GK is really going to help you position and push in more aggressively when the situation calls for it. Nevertheless, I do still think the GK is probably the weakest out of all the legendary tier battleships in comparison to the Yamato, the Conqueror, which the Conqueror, let's face it, is probably the best because of its stupid HE, and the Montana, which has fantastically accurate guns. The GK is just a little bit too big, a little bit too bulky, and I'll admit that this game size here, this single game that I played in it, is not necessarily a good example. Not all your GK games are going to look like this, but when the situations add up correctly and the scenario is good for the GK, it can absolutely dominate and push through a team. You just have to be careful about it, and you have to be smart. You can't allow yourself to be focused, because you will die, and you will die very quickly. I've seen GKs go down within like the first 3 minutes of the match because they just push straight in to the entire enemy team's combined firepower, and no ship in this game can withstand that kind of focus, including the GK. Padding our damage numbers a little bit with this Conqueror. Doesn't look like we're actually going to be able to take him out, but that's fine, because this game is a fantastic guaranteed win at this point. And remember, when we solo capped the Charlie cap earlier on, that's going to show up on the leaderboard in the form of a huge amount of XP. So, if you were looking for tips on how to play the GK, I hope this helped you a little bit. Hope you enjoyed the video as well. Give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Marvel in awe at the 3200 base XP in a gigantic battleship like the GK. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.